When collecting data, a lot of times you end up with spreadsheets that are really difficult and challenging to read. This spreadsheet, for example, has a lot of information where students write a whole lot and you can't read it because the information, the cells don't quite fit on a page. And it doesn't help if I go to show the summary of responses. The information here is, again, hard to read, and it doesn't even show all of the data. So what we're going to use is a script called DocAppender, which is going to make our life a whole lot easier. What we're going to be able to do is collect information from a form and then append or add that information to the bottom of a document in a table form, and it's going to make it really easy to read. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is create a form that's going to collect your information. But the one difference that you need to do here is you need to make sure you have a question or a field in your form that asks for document ID. Now, this is not anything that your participants in the survey are going to need to fill out, but you don't want them to change it either. So if you notice, I put here document ID and I said do not change this. So hopefully they leave it alone. What this document ID is for is it's going to include the document that you want your information to append to. So that is kind of key. The next thing that you want to do is choose a response destination. Up at the top of the page, you're going to click on that, and you're going to choose where you want all the responses to go. I'm going to choose New Spreadsheet, and I'm going to keep the name that it provides, and press Create. Now, you're also going to need a document that you want your information to append to. So this is just a blank document that all I've done is I've added a title. Once we run the script, I'm going to have a table down here that's going to include the answers to the questions in the form. Alright, now what we need to do is run the script. So you're going to be on the spreadsheet that collects your responses, and you're going to go to Tools and Script Gallery. What you need to type in here is DocAppender, and you're going to search for it and you'll find it here in English or in Spanish, and you're going to install it. Now it takes a minute to do. It looks like it just installed. After you install the script, it's going to ask for authorization, and so you're going to press OK, and it will give you a little pop-up window and you need to accept the terms. Now what you're going to do is you're going to run the initial installation. After you run the initial installation, if you click on DocAppender again, it will show you step 1, set up DocAppender. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and follow these instructions. So I'm going to go up to Tools and then Script Editor. And once it opens up in a new window here, I can go back to look at the instructions. Okay, so I'm in Script Editor, and now I'm going to go to the File menu and Manage Versions and save a new version of the script. So File, Manage Versions, and I'm going to save a new version. And I have that here, version number 1. So then I'm going to press OK. Alright, so now what I need to do is under the Publish menu in the script editor, I'm going to select Deploy as a web app. I'm going to choose my version 1 and then Execute Web App As, and I'm going to choose me as a user. So here's Publish, Deploy as a web app. I'm going to choose version number 1. I'm going to execute the app as me. And right now I'm only going to allow access to myself because I don't want other people to use this. I can share this with other staff members if I'd like, but I'm not too clear on that, so I could press help, but I'm going to just press deploy because this is what I needed to do. And it's going to give me a website that I could use if I was going to be using this for multiple different types of documents. Okay, I'm going to confirm my settings. Alright, so now I'm going to set up the DocAppender. So I need to choose the folder where my documents are. So my spreadsheet, the document I want to append, you want to have those all in one specific folder. And mine are in this folder down here. Now I need to choose the sheet and the spreadsheet that's fed by my form. That's the form responses. And then I need to find the column that's reserved for the document ID, and that's the one labeled document ID. Now, the field values that I want to append to the document on the form submit. So these are what I want to show up on the document that is going to be in a table. So I want, what did you learn today? What great ideas do you have? And what do you need? And then down here it says choose the format to be used for appending to new entries. So I have 3 different choices. I can have a bulleted list end up on my document. I can have fields separated by vertical tables, or as new rows in a horizontal table, and that's what I'm going to choose for today. And you could also create a linked subfolder for each document in this folder. I'm not going to worry about that because I'm just using this for one particular document. And I'm going to press Save Settings. As this is happening, you can see that I have 2 new columns that have been added that are in yellow. You want to make sure that you do not edit these headers or delete these columns. This is where the information is going to be needed to append the document. Okay, after I've completed step 1 and I have my spreadsheet ready, I need to go on to step 2 to get the URL for the web app. And what this is going to allow me to do is get the link to the form that's pre-populated with the document ID in it. And this is important because I may be doing, for example, the same workshop multiple times, but I don't want all of the information to append to the same document every single time. I might want one for the first time I'm doing the workshop, a different document for the second time I'm doing the workshop. So what I need to do is get this web address, and I'm going to open it up in a new window, a new tab. And here it asks for the document to append. Now the only document I currently have in that folder on my Google Drive for this particular script is this one here. So let's say that this one is for a date in August, but then I had a second document set up for a date in September. I can choose the correct one. So I want this one here. And now I can view the worksheet, or I can get the form to submit. Now this is the form that I actually want, and you can notice that right here the document ID is already there. So that's the document ID that goes to the document that I want, this document here that I created. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy and paste, or copy this web address. And this is what I'm going to insert or embed into my web page. Alright, so on my web page I want to embed that Google form. But I need to be careful. I can't just choose insert spreadsheet form, because if I do that it will get the correct form but it won't have that pre-populated document ID. So I actually need to choose more gadgets. And I'm going to choose Include Gadget iframe. And I'm going to press Select. And I'm going to add in the URL. And this is that URL from my populated form. And then I'm going to press OK. And I'm going to save the page. Now you can see that right in here it has my Google form that's pre-populated. And I've actually also embedded the document below so that the participants on the worksheet can see what they're sharing with each other in their reflection. So let's check and see if this all works. So what did you learn today? I learned lots about CCSS. I think that it will. Now I'm going to press Submit. And hopefully the information should populate down here. It sometimes takes a minute. What I want to do is check that everything got added. So I'm going back to my responses, and I can see here that this is my form submission. This is what I just entered, and it linked to the appended doc, that this is the correct document, and it gives me a status. It says it appended to the table, and I can see that here on my document. It just needs to give it time to append, or to actually migrate over to the website. I press refresh, and here it is. It showed up, so my participants in my workshop can share it and learn from each other. Now, when you go to this form, I don't know if you noticed it, but if I would click on Resubmit Form, it would bring me back the form without the document ID. So I chose in my spreadsheet, let's get over to the form right here. So in my form, I'm going to edit the form. I want to choose to not show the link to another response because I don't want someone to click on that link and then not have the document ID. So in my confirmation, I said your response has been recorded, but to resubmit the response, please refresh the screen. So that way when they're on the website and they refresh it, the document ID will show up again. After each form submission, the data gets appended to this document, and it's a whole lot easier to read here than it is in our spreadsheet or even in our summary of responses.